So I'll start with a few questions. Do you consider yourself to be a master at multitasking? Do you currently work and or live with someone who is very proud to tell you that they've mastered the art of multitasking? Interestingly, I am not going to disagree with you, and I am not going to call out the people who do it. I am, however, going to highlight a couple things. Each of us is capable of giving 100%. What I will not do is jump into a lot of cliches about it, but I will concede that each of us can give 100%. I'll also remind you that you cannot give 100% to 100 different things at the same time. Consider the following visual. There's you and your health and wellness, your peace of mind. Maybe you have a job. Maybe you're married. Maybe you're a student. Maybe you're a parent. It's possible you are all of the above, and I will go back to you have the capacity to give 100%. I'll also remind you it becomes very difficult on a consistent basis to give 100% to 6 or 7 different things. What I named were the things that were closest to you. What I've not added to the list is maybe you're a member of an athletic club. Maybe you volunteer at an organization. Maybe you're a member of a professional group or organization or trade association. Now I've just added 4 more things to this. Here's what happens. If you can picture this visual for a second, let's assign each one of these things that are important to you to a domino. And as we name them, we will line them up. There is you, and there is home, and there is your children, and there's school, and there's that group that you are a member of, and there's your hobby, and there's your friends, and we line all these up. If you have lined these up in such a way that they are so intertwined that when one falls, everything else seems to fall in its place, you can no longer call yourself a multitasker. And it also highlights the point that you can't control all things. There are several solutions to this that I'd like for you to consider and ask yourself a few questions. 1, do all the dominoes add significant value to your life? And this is where I'll slow down to make a point. It does not mean that your hobby is not important. It does not mean that having all your friends in your life is not important. What does matter is, if I am not getting along with my friends, does that have an impact on the things I enjoy doing with myself? Does that have an impact on my relationship with my children? Does that have an impact on my ability to exceed in my job? Does then that somehow carry over into the workplace? Then do I start to feel sick, headache, stomach ache, because something over here fell out of place? There is a solution to that, and I'd like to offer it to you for consideration. I personally, in terms of following my own advice, limit the number of dominoes that I commit to giving a portion of my 100% to. I give it to family, I give it to my job, I give it to school, and I give it to health and wellness. And that's it. The next thing I do is I align these priorities in my life in such a way that if things at home are not going well, it does not mean that I can't excel at work. Or if things at work are not going well, it does not mean then that somehow it has to carry over into my relationship with my children. The point is, each domino gets its own focus, its own intention, its own attention, and it also gets a certain percentage of my undivided commitment to excelling at it. I have not lined up 50 things in my life so that if one falls, everything else falls into place. So here's what I would offer to you. Take a look at the dominoes you have in your life and ask yourself some questions. 1, are these so closely aligned that if any one of these falls apart, everything else in my life falls apart too? 2, is it necessary that you have so many dominoes lined up in this thing we call life? Have you put them in priority order in such a way that if these 4 things absolutely are related, then you start another line with these 4 things that are important, but if they fall, your life continues to go on? And then finally, have you considered maybe adding a new domino into this? Maybe the domino that's missing is you. Maybe the reason all of these are falling apart is because you've committed to giving to everyone else and everything else but you. You've put yourself last. It is very difficult to care for others, to be committed to others, to be at your best if you decide to neglect you in the process. Keep in mind, the number of things you have in your life are equivalent to a number of dominoes. If you have all these dominoes lined up so closely aligned, then you are at risk of what happens if any one of them falls apart. And remember to keep in mind that you yourself are a domino too. And maybe things are falling apart because you've omitted yourself. I look forward to seeing you again on Ask Better Questions with Alonzo Kelly. Find full episodes of Ask Better Questions with Alonzo Kelly online at whby.com. I invite you to find me on Twitter at KLGLLC and on Facebook, Kelly Leadership Group LLC. Thanks for watching this episode. We'll see you again soon.